In this video, I'm going to talk about how intelligence tests were first created, as well as a couple of different types of intelligence tests. So first, how they were created. These were first devised in France as a method to identify children who were unable to learn in a traditional classroom. When France first opened its schools to everyone, when it first created public education, they really needed to pinpoint the students that were not going to fit into the traditional classroom. And so France had Alfred Binet and Theodore Simon create the first intelligence test. And the score you got on the intelligence test, what they were actually measuring was mental age. And someone's mental age is their level of mental development relative to others. So how you are compared to other people who are your age. If your mental age is 8, you're as smart as the average 8-year-old. If your mental age is 10, you're as smart as the average 10-year-old. That's mental age, and that's the score you got from the Binet intelligence test. Now, this was awesome, but they also wanted to be able to create a test that could immediately compare you to anyone. And that is where Stern came in. Stern was a German man, and he's the one that created the idea of IQ standing for intelligence quotient. And your intelligence quotient is an equation that you can figure out if you know mental age. So this is your mental age divided by chronological age multiplied by 100. Your chronological age is how old you actually are. So if your mental age is 8 and you happen to be 8 years old, your IQ is going to be 100. 100 is the average. If you are 5 and you are smart as the average 10-year-old, your IQ is going to be 200. A higher score is going to be indicative of a higher intelligence. So anything above 100, you're smarter than the average person your age. Anything below 100, you're not as smart as the average person your age. And in the US, we have a version of an IQ test that is called the Stanford-Binet. And the reason it's called the Stanford-Binet is because it was created at Stanford University by a man named Terman. And it was also named this in honor of the original person to make an intelligence test. So Stanford for the location, Binet in honor of Alfred Binet, but Terman was the one, Louis Terman was the one that actually created it. And this test measures several different areas. It's in its 5th edition, and it has 5 content areas. It measures fluid reasoning, knowledge, quantitative reasoning, visual spatial reasoning, and working memory, all of these areas. And you are going to see a normal distribution. The average score, again, will be about 100 with an equal number of people scoring below that and above that. For the intelligence tests like the Stanford-Binet, one complaint is that as you age, what it means to be intelligent varies. And so there's someone, David Wechsler, who really helped to address that by creating his Wechsler scales for intelligence. So there are 3 scales that Wechsler has created, and the cool thing about his scales is that there's strengths and weaknesses in different areas that vary based on your age. So for example, he has the WISC. This is what children are going to get. So the WISC stands for Wechsler Intelligence Scale for Children. This would be about 6 to 16 would be the age range for that. Now, if you are younger than 6, you will have the WIPSI. The WIPSI stands for the Wechsler Primary and Preschool Scale of Intelligence. This would be Wechsler's test for people under 6 years of age. And preschool and primary might be switched, but you do not need to memorize that. So the easiest way to tell the difference between these 2 ones that are for adolescents and children is the C and the PP. C for children, PP for preschool and primary. all the other letters are the same, Wechsler Intelligence Scale. And the final version of Wechsler Scale also has a W, an S, and an I. And again, the other letter helps you know the age range. That is the WACE. And I'm sure you can guess the A stands for adult. So if you are older than 16, you can take Wechsler's adult scale. And those are Wechsler scale. For both of these, they have a verbal component, but also a nonverbal component. That would be doing activities such as being shown a certain image and then you have to use blocks to recreate that image. If you're a younger kid, it might be, can you tell the differences between two pictures? Those sorts of things. So there's a nonverbal component to the Wechsler that is not as evident in the Stanford Binet. So those are two different types of intelligence tests that are not infant intelligence tests discussed in another video.